I flew from Hong Kong to Los Angeles to play poker. So far, I've noticed 5 huge differences between the game here in America versus back in Macau. I'm gonna explain these differences and show you how I'm adjusting my game to make more money. Let's jump into the sessions.
Bet it on me, let it ride. Broke white boy, put it all on the line. Lucky me, lit the Sin City on fire. Money on the floor, watch it double 10 times. Bet it on me, let it ride.
Here we go, first end of the second episode, and we are playing 5-10 at the Commerce Casino. A recreational player and a cutoff opens to $30. We're on the big blind defending a7 of club. Flop comes queen 9-6 rainbow, a check, and he checks back. Turns an ace of spade. I think no real reason for us to bet here. We check, and feeling bets 25 into 65. He can definitely have some ace x here, or he may bet with some showdown value or bluffs like king jack. We check back the flop. You know, recreational players are not c-betting all his bluff on the flop. Rivers an ace of diamond. Leading a size here to get called by underpair may be a good idea, because this ace on the river reduces many of his ace x combo, and he's checking back a lot of his showdown value, plus he's not going to bluff in this spot, and we are not getting bluffed raised ever. But in game, I elected to check. Feeling checks back, he tables queen jack, and we rake in the first pot of the day. Second hand here, EP limps, we are on a hijack, looking down at the worst hand in poker, pocket aces. We ISO to $50, but then the big blind call, EP fold. We're 3-way to a flop which comes king, king, jack with a couple of diamonds. Big blind check. Actually, I don't mind doing some checks on this pair board in multi-way. We can probably tell opponent's hand strength by their betting size. We check, and button goes 260 into 160. I would say the majority of recreational players here in US are kind of loose and wild pre-flop, but they're pretty passive and honest post-flop. I don't think he's betting 1.6x pot with a jack or combo draw. I've seen him flat calling and open with kings in his hand, so I'm actually folding my aces here on the flop. It may be a little bit too tight, but I don't hate it. But I think calling one straight to check his honesty on the turn could be better, unless we are 100% sure he got trips plus here. Alright, I made a big blunder here. Watch. EP and low jack limp. We're on the cutoff. ISO to $60 with 10-8 of heart. They both call, and we're 3 ways to a flop which comes 9-6-3 with a couple of spade. They check to us. We got a gutter on this dynamic and wet board. Even it's a multi-way, I would like to bet on this flop. Even if we get check raise, there are many potential runouts that can help us win the pot on later streets. I bet 60 into 190. EP fold and low jack call. We're heads up to a turn which comes 9 of heart. I think he has a lot of 9x, flush draw, straight draw in his range. We improve to a combo draw. What if we bet here? Yeah, he would continue with his draws, but his 9x is definitely check raising. Our life sucks with our hand here if we get check raised on the turn. So I elected to check back, realizing our equity on the river. River comes a 7 of spade, front door flush completes, and we hit our straight. Feeling bets 125 into 310. And here is the blunder I made. I think a flush would always bet bigger on this river, and his sizing is just telling me that he has a trips of 9s, right? So the best play here is to raise a size that a 9 would call. I think raising to 300 is pretty good, but in game I didn't think that clearly. I clicked send a call without going through the thought process. Anyways, he shows pocket 8s, and we win a little pot with our straight. Next hand here. A regular opens to $40 under the gun. We got ace queen offsuit on the small blind. Normally I play a 3-bet or fold strategy on the small blind, except I want to bring along the recreational player on the big blind like this time. We call on the small blind, big blind fold, and we're heads up to a flop which comes ace queen 8 with a couple of club. We check. UDG bets pot here. He's telling us he loves his hand, right? I think there are many inelastic hands on the flop like ace king, ace jack, combo draws like king jack of club, king 10 of club, jack 10 of club, and I check raise to 450. Planning to play a 2 straight game, shoving a blank turn ideally. But unfortunately, he fold.
It's coaching time. Okay, so this is a reg, right? And he pots it on this board. So what's your strategy on these ace high boards, single raise pot, heads up in position?
Overbet or check.
Overbet or check. Okay, so let's say you potted or you overbet on this board and you face a check raise from a reg and you have a hand like ace king. How are you feeling?
I'm folding.
You're squeamish. Okay, so if you have ace king, you're folding. Why are we check raising here? Because like if he has ace king, if you just call on the flop, what's he gonna do on the turn? If the turn's a deuce or a 4 or a 7, what's he gonna do?
Bet.
What's he gonna do on the river?
Bet.
Yeah. So he's just gonna bet thinly with ace king. And if he has a draw, if he has 10-9 of clubs, what's he gonna do on the turn in the river?
The same.
Right? So like the difference between regs and fish is like this guy's, he's just gonna continue betting if he has value. He's gonna own himself. And if he has a bluff, he's gonna continue betting as well. So really by raising here, we're bloating a pot against the hands that are flipping or have us killed. He's only really gonna call here if he has a big combo draw or a set of eights. We're really not getting value from a reg here. We look so strong if he pots and we check raise on this board. So probably would just call in this one.
Hello.
Next hand, we're opening $40 with ace king of spade on low jack, cutoff and a big blind call. We have 3-way to a flop which comes ace 5-3 with a couple of club. Big blind check to us, I bet $50. I think we can go bigger here like 80 or 90, targeting his ace x and flush draw. Cut off call, big blind fold, and we're heads up to a turn which comes a 4 of heart. On this one-liner straightening turn, which also makes Phelan some 2 pairs, I decided to check and see what Phelan does. Now he bets 200 into 220. I think for this size, he can have 7-6 ace deuce, which are straights, ace 4, 5-4, which are 2 pairs, or even a set of 4s. And for his bluff, maybe he still have some flush draws, but would he bet that big with his draws? Maybe not. So actually, looking back to this hand, I think folding the turn is pretty good. But I called at that time thinking he may still have some bluffs or overplayed ace x, which is going to check back the river. River king of diamond would check. Cutoff bets 405 into 620. It's a huge bet. So what is range now? I don't think he's bluffing now with this size. He can have straights, a set of 4s. I'm not so certain that with 2 pair like ace 4 or 5-4 betting this size. Doesn't feel good on calling, but I made it. He shows 7-6 offsuit and we played it badly.
It's coaching time.
All right, so in this, I would just go through the bluff catching checklist. Do we beat value? Well, no, you said yourself, like, I don't think he's betting hands like ace 5, ace 4, ace 3 on this board. I don't think he's betting a worse 2 pairs. So no, we don't beat value. Is this player capable? We're usually on ace high boards, like, do they under bluff or over bluff on ace high boards? Under bluff. And is the size significant for the game? Yeah, I mean, he chose a pretty chunky size on the river here, right? So like when we just like start to go through some of these questions, like we don't beat value, he's under bluffing. If he's under bluffing, we just have a bluff catcher here. And when they're under bluffing, every bluff catcher is more profitable as a
fold. Now we are down 700 in the session. Time to put some work in. Low jack limb, we are on a hijack opening $50 with king 10 offsuit. Small blind call and we are heads up to a flop which comes 10-6-5 with a couple of diamond. Small blind now donk 45. In a heads up pot, they are donking a lot of trash. Any pairs, all kind of draws. So first is a small donk in a heads up pot. I was just call my range here because I'm winning this pot no matter what. Turns an 8 of spade. Pot is 205. He continues to donk for $60. So what is range now? If he bets something like 9-7, 10-8 on the flop, which now hits a straight or hits a 2 pair, he won't bet that small, right? And there are many inelastic hands like pair plus flush draw, 10-9, 9-8, x7, 7-6. So I raised 200 with my top pair here. Want to get a call from those inelastic portion of his range. Could have went a little bit bigger, but he tanks and tanks and tanks and fold. Next up, we're dealt JJ Barea on the button. We open to $40. I regular in the small blind 3 bet to 160. Actions back to us. In this 150 big blind setting, we would like to 4-bet polar in position versus regular, which means we want to 4-bet our strongest hands and our weakest hand in our continued range. We are kind of squeamish if we get 5-bet shove. And this hand just played very well in position in a 3-bet pot. As played, I 4-bet to 450. I don't like the size. I don't like the 4-bet. Our villain doesn't like his hand that much too, and he fold. Let's continue. EP opens to 35, hijack, small blind both call. We complete the big blind with ace-3 of spade, and we are four-way to a flop which comes ace-7-7 with a couple of diamonds. Flop goes check through and turns a 6 of spade. Small blind now bets 200 into 135. He's the first to act on the turn with a big bet. I think his range is pretty strong. He can have 7x. Both like 6s or 7-6, but he still has some ace-x or very strong draws. I would like to call once here, and probably fold if he follows another big bet on the river. Everybody else fold, and we are heads up to the river, which comes a 7 of spade. Small blind check, and what is range now? I don't think this player has quad checking here, so either his draws missed, or he has a bolt of 6 on the turn and now downgrade to a bolt of 7. And of course, he have tons of ace-x here too. I don't think a 6 is calling any amount, maybe 50? But I want to try folding out an ace here by shoving all in. If he called, we are chopping. If he fold, that's amazing. He didn't take much time before calling, and he tables ace-3 offsuit, and we chop the pot. Last hand of the first session, and we are playing this hand versus a professional. Let's go. A pro in the low jack opens to 35. We're on the big blind defending with king 6 of heart. We're heads up to a flop which comes king 9-8 with a couple of hearts. We check, low jack's bet 30. I think it's more like a range bet to me. We got a top pair with flush draw. I don't think it's strong enough to raise for value, so I chose to call and see how the turn develops, and let him continue with his bluffs. Turns a 5 of spade. I think I can find some dongs on the turn, as this turn card favors our range a bit more than the aggressors. But I want to keep it simple. We check and villains check back. River's a queen of spade. By he checking back the turn, I don't think he has sets or straights in his range. He can have some backdoor flush draw checking back the turn, avoiding the check raise, realizing the river, and now hit a flush. But he also has many showdown value hands like queen x, jacks, 10s, 9x. So I chose to bet small here, $40 into 130. Targeting those on the pairs, and villain looked down his hands, double checking, and put in a raise to $200. So what is range now? Yeah, as we mentioned, he can have flushes or a set of queens, and he can also have some ace-jack or ace-10 with the ace of spade as bluffs. I didn't pay much attention to his tail, which is looking down his cards. I think it's kind of weak because we tend to remember our suited hands, right? No need to double check whether we got a nut blocker or not, but as played, I fold at that time, given that even live pros I under-bluffed, and I would like to call if I paid attention to that tail at that moment. So please let me know how you guys think about it. Hey guys, just finished my session. To summarize, here are the 5 biggest differences between the games here in America versus back in Macau. 1. American players are wild. They are playing way too loose and wide pre-flop. 2. American players are more passive post-flop. They're honest playing their hands, they're check raising less, and they're making more calling mistakes than betting mistakes. 3. There are relatively less professionals in America than in Macau, even at a 5-10 game. 4. Casinos in America are raking much less. For the same 5-10 game in Macau, they are taking 5% off the pot. The maximum cap is $50. While in LA, there is only a $7 flat drop once the flop is dealt. 5. The games are much more fun. Players are more willing to chat, share their thoughts and feelings on the table, while the players in Macau play quietly. I lost $450. Marco will put my result here. On to the next session. Alright, first hand of the session. A tight recreational player on a hijack opens to 35 with 3-bet to 125 on the button with king jack offsuit. Hijack call, and we're heads up to a flop which comes queen 6-2 rainbow. Hijack check in a 3-bet pot. In position versus recreational player as an aggressor, I would just range bet small here, incentivize him to fast play his strong hands and continue his weak hands. We bet 80 into 260. hijack call. Turns a 4 of club, hijack check. So what is range here? He can have queen x, pocket pairs from jacks to 7s, or some ace king too. I would like to bet small again on this turn, trying to cap him twice, as he may still slow play with strong hands on that dry flop, also bring a relatively wide range to the river. I bet 115 to 420. Hijack call. River's a 10 of diamond. I think feeling can hit some 2 pairs and sets on this river, but with his SPR behind, I'm confident that he's folding pretty much all of his queen x and pocket pairs, so I went for it. Shoving 2x pot, 1100s, to be honest, it's not that ideal to all-in bluff in this spot. We can be running into brick walls. Maybe just fold out everything except a queen is already profitable, as we keep a pretty wide range of feeling to this river by betting small on the turn. Lucky for us, we got it through. He finds a fold this time.
It's coaching time.
Why is it bad? Tell me why it's bad.
Because I blocked his folding range like queen jack, king queen, and the best hand he got here is like ace queen is never folding.
Yeah, so ace queen's not folding, right? I throw the blockers out the window a little bit. You bet small on the turn, right? Because you thought he's still uncapped because he could just slow play with deuces or sixes or something sometime.
Yes.
Right? So think about betting small on the turn. He could just have pocket 10s. 10s could just call twice here. He could have all the queen 10, and then like, I don't think he's folding ace queen. So like the line I may take here, because on this river, like we can run into some brick walls. He has some inelastic hands like ace queen. Let's just not try to get that stuff to fold. Let's just get like 3s, 5s, 7s, 8s, 9s. Let's just get that stuff to fold. And I think like you could probably just go 400 on this river and get like all that stuff to fold.
Second hand of the day. A regular opens $30 on the button. We defend king queen offsuit on the big blind, and we heads up to a flop which comes ace king 10 with a couple of spades. We check, button bet half pot. I think players are very underbluffed on 3 Broadway's flops, but here we got a second pair with a gutter plus a backdoor flush draw, and we call. Turns a 9 of spade, completing the front door flush draw out there. We check and he check back. River's a jack of spade, 4 card flush out there. So what is range now? I think he don't have a flush on the turn by checking back, but now he may have some flushes too. I think leading a small size is pretty good, but in game we checked, hoping that he would bluff this 4 flush board. But he checked back, we showed our hand and we won. Next hand here, a recreational player opened $40 on the gun, low jack calls, we're on a big blind with ace jack of heart. A pretty good hand here, as UDG used a big opening size. I think his range is quite strong and we proceed with a call. We're 3-way to a flop which comes 9-7-3 with a couple of hearts. We check, UDG c-bet 115 into 120. You can have good draws like king queen of heart, queen 10 of heart, but with this size, I think it leans more to vulnerable mate hands like overpairs, which need much protection, and that's why he bets big. Low jack call. With our nut flush draw, I don't think we have any full equity here by check raising, so I'm going to call, hoping to improve on later streets. Turns an 8 of club, we check. To my surprise, under the gun now check and the low jack checks too. I think under the gun can sometimes check his overpairs on this turn to pot control or to do a check raise facing a small size, but probably not that much. And for low jack, he is definitely on a draw or with a weak hand. He just have a weak range by his action. River's a 4 of club. I think it's pretty interesting here. We could bet to fold out UDG's better high card like ace king and low jack's 9x, but it's pretty risky to me because UDG bet pot on the flop. It makes me feel that he still have a strong range which don't fold to a significant amount of money. So I elected to check after realizing all my equities by seeing 5 cards. UDG now bets 250 into 465, leaving him about 800s behind. Low jack fold. I think if I somehow get here with just a straight, I would definitely check raise all in, targeting his overpairs. So I think I can't really check raise bluff this river with our stack death, and we fold.
Hello.
A recreational player under the gun opens to 35. We're on the big blind, calling with 8-4 of spade. Flop comes king x5 rainbow, a check to him. He c-bets for $45. A little bit more than half pot. I think he can have a lot of good hands here. Aces, ace king, king queen, queens. But we hit a pair with a backdoor flush draw on the way. We call. Turns a deuce of spade. Our backdoor flush draw is now here. We check. UDG bet half pot 80 into 160. I think his range is still strong. No real reason for us to raise here. And we are not going anywhere with a pair plus flush draw. We call, hoping to catch a spade or 8 or 4 on the river. And the river comes a 4 of heart. Look at the sweet baby there. Just letting him continue to do the betting himself, and he bets 275 into 320, leaving him about 1100s behind. We think for a while, announce those 2 words, and he starts talking.
I don't know if I can fold this. We got 2 pairs set, you're good. I call.
We got lucky, the 4 is literally the best runner for us, and we are happy raking in the 3,000 pot.
It's coaching time.
You ended up winning all the money in this hand, but I was curious why you decided to go for the check raise on the river instead of just donking.
I think on this backdoor missing, villain is capable of bluffing. I've seen him done thin value or bluffing, so I will let him to do the betting job.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. My only issue with that is he opened from under the gun. And I just don't think he has a ton of bluffs when he opens from under the gun. And first of all, like fish, they don't care about backdoor flush draws, right? What they do care about is like the front door draw got there on this board, which is 6-7. The obvious draw came in, so I'd be a little bit nervous here that this guy's just gonna check back a hand like King X sometimes. And like, I don't know how many bluffs he has on a king high dry board when he opens from under the gun. Like, what are the bluffs? Like ace queen and ace jack? Like, do those hands even barrel all the time? I would doubt it. Like, if this was button versus big blind, I get it. He's got more bluffs. He's got a wider range. But I think from under the gun, like, he just doesn't have enough bluffs, so he's going to be massively under bluffing. Even a player who's like capable of thin value betting, when the obvious draw comes in on the river, they may just check back the King X sometimes, and that's a disaster for us.
Next hand here, we're opening $40 on low jack with pocket kings. Hijack button and the big blind call, and we are 4 ways to a flop, which comes king 7-5 with a couple of hearts. We made the top set. Button check. On this king high board, I don't think players are overstepping enough because they always think the raiser has ace king, which I don't know why. But anyway, we bet half pot, $80 into 160, targeting all the pairs, flush draw, straight draw to continue. Hijack calls, button and the big blind gets out of the way, and we are heads up to the turn, which comes a 7 of club. We made the top full house. Remember back in episode 1, I made a mistake when I turned the top bolt by betting large. We are not going to repeat the same mistake again. I bet small here, targeting him to continue all his straight draw, flush draw. I bet 125 into 320, and low jack calls, and reverse a jack of club, completing the backdoor flush. The pot now is 570, and we got like 450 back. I think shuffling here is reasonable, targeting the hands like king x to call, but we have 2 kings on our hand, so I think the majority of villain's range are probably flush draw, straight draw. And I decided to check here, incentivizing him to bluff with his missed draw on this flush completing river. We check to him, he announced all in, we snap call, and it tables 7-3 of diamond. We get lucky on this one. He turned trips, but I love my small bet size on the flop and on the turn, so happy to rake in another big pot. Next hand, an aggressive recreational player opened to 35 in the cutoff, with 3-bet to 100 on the button with King Jack offsuit. He called, and we are heads up to a flop which comes Queen Jack 6 all diamond. Cutoff check to us. First, as a normal recreational player, I would just range c-bet small. But for this villain, I think he is more capable of bluffing, so I would prefer giving him rope at the same time making our life easier, so we check back. turns a queen of club. He donks 120 into 210. So what is range? I think the queen on the turn is a pretty good card for us. It reduces many of his queen x combo. For the bluff, I think he's definitely going to bet with hands like pocket pairs with 1 diamond, or even some no equity hands just betting because we checked back flop. We call, planning to call down river 2 if river's a safe run out, and river comes a fall of spade. Cutoff didn't continue his bet and he checked to us. I would say he got no queen x here, maybe some ace high, ace with diamond giving up, but he also has many showdown value hands like pocket pairs, and I would like to target those portion of his range. So we bet 100 into 450. He calls and we are good. After playing 5 hours and 30 minutes, we are up 2500 now, and we are going to end this session strong. Fold to us on the button, we look down at ace king offsuit, we grab some chips and put them in. Recreational player on the small blind call, and we heads up to a flop which comes king 6-3 with a couple of hearts. Small blind donks $60 into 85. I think we can raise with our thick values here because he's saying that he likes his hand, but I elected to call in game because I saw this feeling donk big and fold to a raise on the flop, so I think it doesn't really mean this player has a strong range by 1 action. So we call and turns come a 7 of diamond. Small blind continues donks 150 into 205. He's telling us he really loves his hand. I think there are many inelastic hands in his range like king x of heart, 9-8 of heart, 10-9 of heart. Sometimes we're losing to 5-4, the straight, 2 pairs, and sets, but I don't really think those hands are donked often. There are just not that many combos of hand that beat us right now, so I decided to raise to 500, targeting his inelastic hands, but unfortunately, he fold. Big pot alert. Hello! Last hand of the session. An aggressive recreational player on the low jack opens to 30. We find ace king in a hijack and we 3-bet to 100. Back to low jack, he thinks for a while and 4-bet to 305. We got about 180 big blind dip, and he is an aggressive player. I'm confident calling with ace king here. In position, playing a 4-bet pot. We call, heads up to a flop which comes ace queen deuce rainbow. Pretty good flop for us. Low jack bets 320 into 620. I don't like his size here, but let's ask what's his range. First, I think we can probably rule out aces. I don't think he's betting half pot in a 4-bet pot with top set on the flop. He can have ace king, ace queen, ace 5, set of queens. I don't understand why people would still see bet kings in these scenarios, but I believe we always see that. For bluffs, I think he could have some king jack, king 10. We got top pair top kicker here. No reason to raise. We call and turns a 5 of heart. Low jack check. If we bet, his ace jack kings are going to call 1 straight. His ace queen and queens are going to check raise, and his bluffs are going to fold. If we check back and he check on the river, we can get our 1 straight value there. If he bets on the river, and it's an easy call for us, we lose less to his traps and win more from his bluffs. So I elected to check back turn. River's a jack of club. Not the best card in deck. We lose to ace jack or jacks now. He bets 740 into 1260. It's not really an easy call, but given his image is aggressive, and he may still value bet with a river with ace king, I made the call, and he showed jack 10 of diamond. I would say it's pretty creative, and we are happy to end this session winning a big juicy pot. Hey guys, logging in my last session. I won 3,500 and some change in 7 hours. Yeah, it's a pretty good one. And please, Marco, please help me put my total result here. And guys, we have one more session to go in this episode. Enjoy. Alright, first and our third session, we're opening 9-7 of club on a hijack to $30. Our recreational player on the big blind calls, and we're heads up to a flop which comes jack 4-4 with a couple of diamonds. Big blind check on the single raise pot in position as pre-flop raiser. I'm just going to range bet half pot. I bet $30 into 60, big blind calls, and turns a 7 of heart. Well, it's range. I think you can have jack X, a lot of flush draws, a lot of pocket pairs. Our hand has some showdown value here, so I elected to check back and evaluate the river. River queens of spade. Big blind check to us again. I think if he hit his top pair on this river with his flush draws or 2 overs, he's going to lead. So I would like to value bet with our pairs of 7s here. But we need to go really small here, targeting hands like pocket 3s, pocket 5s, pocket 6s, or even ace high. I bet $25 into 120. Big blind calls. We show our hand, but this time he got king jack offsuit. Second hand here. We are doing a round of straddle. Hijack call. A regular on the small blind opens to 125. We look down at pocket kings on the straddle. I was going to 3-bet to 425, but I misclicked, putting one more white chip out there, making it 525. Hijack fold and small blind call. We're heads up to a flop which comes ace, queen, 10, or hearts. Small blind check to us. It's probably the worst flop for our hand. We got no heart. I check back and turns a 10 of spade. Big blind check to us again. I think his ace king is going to fall by shove pre-flop, so his range is more like ace queen, queens, jacks, and 10s. I could bet small on the turn, targeting jacks with a heart and looking to check back on the river. But in game I chose to check, reverse the deuce of spade. Small blind now all in $1,000 into 1,075. I think the bluffs he has here are jacks and 9s, but I haven't seen him doing huge bluff before, and I laid our hand down. I think by betting small on the turn, we can uncap ourselves and avoid facing these bluffs when we versus regulars. Anyway, nice hand to him, and looking forward to play another hand with him again. Next hand here, straddle is still on. We're on a hijack opening $50 with ace jack offsuit. A recreational player on the cutoff call, and we heads up to a flop which comes ace 10-4 with a couple of club. Normally in a single raise pot out of position, I'm checking my range, but on this ace high flop, I don't think this villain is overstepping. So I bet 75 into 130, targeting his ace X, 10x, flush draw, and straight draw. Cutoff call, and we head to a turn which comes a jack of diamond. We made a 2-pair. I think he has a lot of inelastic hands here on the turn. Hands like queen jack of club, king jack of club, 9-8 of club, 2 pairs, and the top pair ace is not folding yet. I think going 300 to 350 is pretty good, leaving ourselves a pot size left on the river. But I didn't find the best size in game, and I bet 200 into 280. Cutoff call, and reverse a 3 of spade. Facing this passive villain, who won't bluff with their misdraws, I decided to go for gold here, looking for his ace to bluff catch. When the front door flush missed, I go all in, $960 into 680, but he fold. You guys see? If I started putting more money on the flop and on the turn, it's gonna be an all-in within a pot size, and we might get the call. Big pot alert! Under the gun straddle to $20, we're first to act, and we open to $50 with pocket 10s. Cut off and straddle call, and we're 3 ways to a flop which comes king 10-4 with a couple of heart. Straddle check to us. With only one player in position to us, I'm betting myself with my good hands. I bet 75 into 160, targeting king X, 10x, flush draw, and straight draws. I could have went bigger like 100 to 120, but anyways, cutoff call, and we're heads up to a turn which comes a 9 of spade. Queen jacks get there, but normally I'm still betting my set here. But this time, I see villain's eyes kind of blinked when he see the turn card comes. Looking excited, I elected to check to him, and he bet 250 into 310. He's representing a straight or 2-pair with his size, and we are going to call, proceed with a little caution, and guess what? Bang! Reverse a 4 of heart, pairing the board, completing the front door flush, and we have a boat now. I check to him. If it has straight, I think he's still going to bet. If somehow he's bluffing on the turn, he gets there on the river. Our read is right. He bet 750 into 800s. We got about 1400s left behind. After thinking about what food to order after this hand, we goes all in. He tanks, asking if we really hit a flush. He may find a fold with his straight, but after a while, he finally make the call. Let's go! After winning a 3600s pot, we get a premium again. Hijacks straddle to $20, button makes it to 50. We look down at ace king suited on the big blind. We 3-bet to 200s, straddle fold, and button call, and we heads up to a flop which comes jack 10 5 with a couple of heart. In a 3-bet pot out of position, I'm checking my range here because players always telegraph their hand strength by their sizing. We check, button bet 150 into 420 is a relatively small bet. I think you can have some flush draw, some one pair type hands like queen jack, 10 9. We got 2 overs and a gutter to the nut. We call, turn a 4 of club, and we go check check. You can't believe it. It's a queen of heart on the river. Front of flush complete, and we hit a straight. I'm betting 400 into 720, targeting hands like ace queen, king queen, queen jack to call, but he disagreed, raising up to 1.2k, telling us he had a flush. I think it's really on the bluff spot. People are not bluffing when the obvious ace king get there. We have to say goodbye to our hand. We fold and let's move on. Next hand here, a tight OMC limb on the low jack. We ISO to $50 with 9-5 of club on the button. Low jack call and we heads up to a flop which comes queen 7 deuce rainbow. Low jack check to us, we bet $40 into 110. Low jack call, and turns a 6 of heart. Low jack check to us again. I think the best play here is to bet small. Since the flop is so dry, he may not raise with his strong hands. And by betting small, I can funnel him to the river with a weaker range, and then push him off there. But in game, I chose to overbet the turn. I want to get his queen next to fold, but actually I don't need to. I bet 300 into 190. Ready to give up river if I didn't hit my straight. He calls. River's a 4 of club. I don't think I can fold out anything on this river because his range is so strong after calling the overbet on the turn. He may have some sets. He may have some ace queen that is never folding. We goes check check on the river and they show pocket deuce. He made a set of deuces. One big takeaway here, players may not raise their strong hands on a dry flop, and on a turn, they're actually uncapped, and we should bet small and try to cap them again. Big pot alert. Hello. Under the gun opens to $30. We look down at pocket kings, +1, and we 3-bet to 100. Recreational player on the button cold call, UTG call, and we're 3 ways to a flop which comes 10, 6, deals, or diamond. Under the gun check, with 1 player in position, I would like to bet here. Targeting hands like ace 10, pocket 9s with a diamond, pocket jacks with a diamond. I bet half pot, 150 into 310, and they both call. Turns a king of heart. Under the gun now leads 300 into 760. So what is range? I don't think he has a flush. Calling the flop when he's closing the action, and now leading the turn? I think he has hands like queen jack with the queen of diamond, kind of setting his own price. So what's the button range? I think he's on a draw. Hands like ace king or ace queen with the ace of diamond, pocket pairs with a diamond. I'm not going to give them good odds. I raised to 900, but then cold call again after counting some fingers. And now UTG is all in for 2.2k. Yeah, I think we're f***ed. My rate is off. He got a flush for sure, but we still have 10 clean outs to a bolt. We call, but that makes the call too. We showed our hands. And under gun has queen 9 of diamond while the button has ace 9 offsuit with the ace of diamond. We still have 1 more card to come. Good luck us. Our read was off. We made a mistake. But Poker God is treating me well. And it is sweet to win a 6k pot.
It's coaching time.
This is a calibration thing. So when they donk on the turn, multi-way in a 3-bet pot, like after you have shown nothing but strength, like the turn is a king, like what hand are they scared of?
Ace
like,
king.
Ace king. Like they could just always beat ace king here, right? And like what hands on this board does he have that beat ace king that lose the kings? I don't really think there's I mean, like sure it could be a set sometimes, but like to me this just it feels like a flush a lot. And I know I say this with like I've seen the cards, I know, so like I'm biased, but when they donk in a 3-bet pot on the turn in a king high board, they're not bluffing. And I think like the range you put him on was like queen jack with a queen of diamonds or a jack of diamonds or something like that. And like $300, yes, it's less than half pot, but $300 is a pretty big bet. And it's a 3-bet pot and it's multi-way and you show nothing but strength and there's a king out there now. Like this is just not a bluff. And so I think like it's not necessarily that I hate the raise here. If it's like, yeah, he could just have a bunch of sets here, like sure, let's get value. But like I think the calibration is off, and when they donk here, it's never a bluff. It's just always value.
We are now up 4.4k after playing 2.5 hours. In this hand, our recreational player on the hijack opens to 35. We're on the big blind with 4-3 of diamond and we are defending. Heads up to a flop which comes 9-9-3 rainbow. We check to him. Hijack's now bet $30 into 70. From the previous showdown that I've seen from this villain, he's always c-betting when he's the aggressor. So I decided to raise here with a pair of 3s. I raised to 100, denying his overcast equity, and our raise was right. He fold, and we rake in a little pot again. Next hand, we're opening $40 in the cutoff with ace-king. Button call, and we're heads up to a flop which comes 10-5 deuce all clubs. In a single raise pot out of position as a pre-flop raiser, I'm just going to ring check. We check, and he check back. Turns a 10 of heart. What is range now? I think he can have showdown value like pocket pairs, or he got nothing's going on. I check to him, and he check back again, and reverse a king of heart. I don't think his pocket pairs are calling him a bet here, so I elected to check to him, to let him bluff with his air. We check, he bet $50, and I put in a raise to 200, looking for a call from king queen or king jack. Unfortunately, he fold. Alright, this hand here. Our recreational player opened on the button to $35. We're on the big blind with pocket deuces. And we call, heads up to a flop which comes 5-3 deuce with a couple of spade. Look at the sweet baby there. We check to the aggressor and he check back. Turns a 3 of diamond, so what is range now? I think he got no overpairs here. Assumed all overpairs should have bet the flop. So I bet $25 here, targeting his high cards like ace king, ace queen to call once, button calls. And reverse a 3 of heart. The pot now is 120. I think if we check, he's going to check back a lot of the time. So I'm going to go for value here, targeting ace high. So how much would I bet to fold out ace high? I think probably 2/3 pot, 60, 70, 80. So I bet 30 here, 1/4 pot. But it makes a call. We show our hand, and he mucks. Before this hand, we lost 700s with a flush over flush. Sorry that I didn't film the hand. We're still up 3600s now. So this hand, we're opening $40 in the low jack with ace deuce of diamond. Button call, and we're heads up to a flop which comes ace-6-4 rainbow. In a single raise pot out of position as a pre-flop raiser, I'm just going to ring check. We check, and he check back. Turns a jack of spade, and we check again. Because he's going to barrel his ace when we check twice to him, unfortunately he check back, but I'm confident that we can put him on some showdown value hands like pocket pairs, 6x, etc. Reverse an ace of heart. I'm not checking here anymore, and I think on this river, pairing the ace, it would be hard to bluff villain off his one pair type hand. They're not believing, especially when I check twice. So actually, it's a very good spot to bet big for value. I bet $200 into 90. He didn't spend much time and made the call. We show our hand, and we are good.
Hello.
In this hand, a recreational player on the button opens to 30. Small man calls. We look down at JJ Barea on the big blind, and we 3-bet to 200s. Button folds, small line calls, and we heads up to a flop which comes queen 10-8 with a couple of diamond. Small line check to us. In a 3-bet pot, I'm going to range bet 1/3-ish. I bet 150, small line calls. Turns a 6 of spade. So what is range now? I think you can have queen x, 10x, some flush draw, some straight draws. We got a showdown value here, so I decided to check and evaluate the river. And river's a 9 of heart. Look at the sweet baby there, we hit a straight again. Small blind now lists 300 into 725. What is range now? I don't think he has a bet straight here because king jack is going to bet bigger than 300. So he either have a jack or he hit a set of 9s. We got 700s left behind. I decided to go all in because 1 of 99 times, if we find a fold with jack, is great for us. And it's a totally free roll to me because I don't think we are running into brick walls. We goes all in, he tanks, he tanks, he tanks, and they finally find a call with a jack. Second last hand of the session, and it's my favorite one. Watch. A very tight OMC limbs on a hijack, small blind call, and we are on the big blind with 9-7 offsuit. We check, 3 ways to a flop which comes 7-4-3 with a couple of diamond. Small blind check, I bet 15 here, targeting hands like 2 overs, flush draw, hijack call, and now small blind mean raise to 30. What is range? I think he can have a better 7. I don't think he's mean raising with a straight or sets, and he can be on a draw too. Price is too good. We have a top pair, we call, and hijack call too. Turns a 3 off club. Small blind now bet 50 into 115. Could probably fold here, but I elected to call in-game, looking for a 9 or potential runouts for me to bluff the river. I call, hijack makes a call too. We're still 3-way to a river, which comes a 5 off club. Small blind continued to bet 50. Wait, did you smell something? I did. I smell weakness. I think he's block betting with a decent kicker of a pair of 7s here. What about the hijack? From his call on the flop, on the turn, I think he's pretty weak. He's either on the front door flush draw or some weak 7x. So I turn my hand into a bluff and raise to 500s, representing a backdoor flush or both like pocket 5s. Hijack tanked for a long while, but he's an OMC who's scared to lose money. He finally says surrender and fold, thanks God. And of course, small blind snap fold, and I'm happy with my read. Alright, last hand of this episode, and I'm gonna show you how checking on specific boards can make us the most money. We're opening ace deuce offsuit on the button, big blind calls, and we're heads up to a flop which comes ace 6-4 with a couple of spade. On this ace high flop, my strategy is to overbet or check. We don't have a big kicker. I elected to check here, and turns a 5 off heart. Big blind now leads for $30 here. So what is range? Yeah, of course, he can have 8-7, and he can also have a lot of 2 pairs and sets like ace-6, pocket 5s, pocket 6, but for his size, I don't think sets or 2 pair or straight are betting $30 here. We call, river's a 5 of club, no flush get there. Big blinds now bet 90 into 140. I think there are many misdraw here. I call with the ace deuce, he tables a hand and he got king 3 off heart. You see, if we bet the flop, he's never bluffing with it. And this is how we win the most money. Hey, a pretty lucky session for me. I played for 6 hours and 45 minutes and was up 4,200. Pretty decent, running good Saturday night. So my total results and hours will be up here. Good night guys, on to the next one.